Hiring, nobody showed up.
But unfortunate.
We're good to go.
All right.
Hiring, nobody showed up.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It's September 21st, Tuesday, and we're going to call to order the Evan Grove Charter School working session. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If everyone could recite the mission statement to inspire action for lifelong learning, one student at a time. And roll call.
Wayne Zegler,
Here.
Stacy Barno,
Here.
Michelle McCray,
Here.
Daisy Ackenswood,
Here.
Julia Byron,
Here.
Brian Ladman,
Here.
Colleen Preston,
Here.
Eugene Steger,
Here.
and Christopher Shaw.
No longer here. All right. So was there any public comment for the working session?
We haven't opened up for submissions, so the notice that has been given out is if you wanted to make a public comment, you had to come here in person.
Perfect. All right, so moving right along. So Kristen, we'll turn it right over to you.
Yep. So I'm going to start with Brian. He's going to talk about the comprehensive plan update and where we are with that.
So in board docs and the administrative content, there's a number of documents. We spoke about this at the strategic planning committee last time that we met. And there's a number of documents that we have to submit as part of our comprehensive plan submission. The first one is the academic standards and assessment requirements. This is an overview where we had to go through and audit our curriculum alignment, our frameworks, and basically where we are at in terms of our curriculum and assessment alignment. So you can, it's very lengthy. It's about 170 pages if you go through all of them. So we're not going to go through all of that tonight. It's posted for administrative content just as a review. If you want to go through it, what we're going to do after tonight is publicly post the documents and take feedback from the public. And then we would come back in October for a discussion and a board vote. And then we would have November 1st submission date. There is one part of the academic standards and assessment requirements that's going to change. They passed a new law that adapted the teacher evaluation requirements for this year. So there's a portion in that document that refers to processes and procedures under the old law. They're updating that this week. So I'm going to have to go in and add a little bit of it. It's just informational purposes. The second part is the induction plan. We have to submit this every 6 years. So our induction plan was up as part of our comprehensive plan. This is an overview of what we do with new teachers, how we onboard new teachers, how we bring them in, how do we identify mentors, how do we pair mentors with mentees. So it's an overview and a list of assurances to make sure that we are following Pennsylvania's requirements for onboarding and induction of new staff and teachers. The next section is student services assurances. This is a very short section. It's basically just us verifying and assuring the Department of Education that we adhere to the requirements that we're bound to regarding special education and other student service programs. The lengthiest portion of the report is the comprehensive plan. There's two documents in there. One is the really long PDF. There's a lot of white space in that document. And then there's another one that's a condensed Word doc version to look at. This was all the information that we've been talking about over really the last 2 years of evaluating and surveying our staff and our parents and our students about where we are at as a school with regards to Pennsylvania's continuous cycle for improvement. We worked through identifying strengths and weaknesses of us as a school and area and opportunities for growth, and then established some priorities and goal areas, the two of which we included in the comprehensive plan was the work being done with social emotional learning on our equity action team around SEL and PBIS programming, And then the second goal was about instructional time and our master schedule here at State Road with elementary, middle school, and high school having to kind of be sandwiched together. And how do we better leverage our instructional time in the facilities here at State Road? So those were the two goals that we were submitting to the Department of Education. Now, when we talked before, we talked about the board's strategic plan, which had a lot of other things. And two of those are what we included in the comprehensive plan here for the Department of Ed's requirement. The last portion is our professional development plan, which we have to submit every 3 years, along with the comprehensive plan. Basically, any action step within the comprehensive plan that requires professional development or communication steps. We had to very clearly spell out what that professional development was, who's providing it, when's it happening, what's the evidence of learning, so that that action plan has the supported teacher professional development or staff professional development, and then any communication steps. Are we emailing things out to parents? Are we posting things to websites? Is it a presentation to the board, so that there's that accountability measure for keeping stakeholders informed? So those are the documents up for review over the next 28 days. They'll be posted to the website along with a form for parents and community members to submit any feedback related to what's included.
You guys have any questions? Since it's a work session, it's really, we can answer any questions you have about the comprehensive plan specifically.
No, I think I started going through it. I think we all should take it. I want to say it's a great read, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. So I recommend that everyone take a glance through all of it.
Yeah, or if you never got a chance to look, if you didn't get a chance to look at the last one, or new board members, it's a good opportunity to see through where did we rate ourselves, or have sort of honest self-assessments on where we're at with particular things. Yep.
Okay,
cool.
And Brian, you're the point of contact if we have any specific questions.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to go to the health and safety part of the meeting, which I am going to talk about this again at the board meeting, but wanted to use this opportunity to talk to you about questions so that we would have that discussion prior to the board meeting. So the first slide here is about how when you met the last time, you voted that we would wear masks through September and reevaluate in September. Obviously, since that meeting, Wolf administration is now requiring masks indoors, and that order took effect on September 7th. So there's really nothing to discuss, as that is trumping and superseding anything that local boards are deciding. With that, if for whatever reason, because there's no timeline, right? Everything's random. So if there's a timeline where the state comes back and says, we no longer need to wear masks, we're going to keep the mask mandate, have a special board meeting where you can discuss the time frame that you're comfortable with. Okay. The TSA still mandating on the busing. We wrote a letter recently asking parents to make sure that they talk to their kids about wearing masks on the bus. I can tell you that not everybody's wearing masks on the bus, and we're trying to tell them it's really not a rule we made up. It's a rule that you have to follow. We're currently right now, our positive cases, we have 11 students that have been positive. That's 8 at State Road and 3 at Kemblesville. And we've had 1 contractor. We're currently quarantining. Since the first day of school, we've had 46 students and staff. That is a very small population. If we weren't wearing masks and following the mandates, it would have quadrupled that 46 number if we were following the rules, not wearing a mask. So it's important to make sure people understand. There is a transportation bus driving shortage, and there is a problem here at the school currently with our car line, specifically at State Road. So I'm sure if you take car line, you have seen the backup. The problem is it is a township road, and we are not allowed to go out on the road and direct traffic. So the local police, state police, the township, and the school are all talking about a local police officer being the crossing guard. But along with that comes township approval, attorney approval, all of those things. So it is in discussion. The meeting was actually supposed to happen today and was just signed for next week. So it's happening. The caveat to all of that is that the school will pay for the transportation crossing guard police officer once they figure out who's allowed to be there, when and why, right? So what I was on, and I have not seen a contract, they're still talking about it, but they did talk about $100 a day, $500 a week. I talked to Donna, and we do have some ESSER's money because we do have more traffic because nobody wants to ride the bus, or we have a bus driving shortage and kids are getting home late, that the parents are driving because of COVID concerns. So with that being said, I mean, this is a time that we can talk about that specific contract. And when it comes, I mean, we can either have a special meeting or wait till the next board meeting. I'm not sure when it's coming, but I'm hoping it's coming before the next board meeting. Does anybody have any questions about that specifically?
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, does anyone else?
Can we give Kristen the authority to execute without having to call a special board meeting?
Yeah, based.
Prior? Yeah.
Based on the 100, yeah.
But if it's different, like I said, I don't have a contract in my hands. If it's different, I can
Yeah.
reach out. Yeah.
So first of all, I want to say, I know Carline is the bane of your existence. I'm so sorry for that. But it's been great this week. I guess you've been opening a little earlier.
Right.
It's been great. So congratulations to all whoever's out there. I see Matt out there with his hat on.
Yeah. Ian's been out there.
And there's
Yes.
some teacher yelling at me with a bullhorn. I'm like, I'm moving. I'm going. But she's doing great. So, but when you say $100 a day, is that are you going to have them morning
And the afternoon?
So that covers both?
Both.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
That's a good question. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then do you think if the bus driver shortage, and I understand the trouble getting people, I get it. Do you think this will reduce that as we get more buses, or is this like for the remainder of the year? What do you think?
I personally think that you're going to continue to see more cars in Carline. I actually think you're going to see more cars than we have now because we have just saw the beginning of the bus stuff, the bus nonsense.
Yep.
So currently right now, every school district is struggling with transportation.
Yeah.
Coatesville specifically is down 100 bus drivers. So what that means is we are doing much better than Collegium. Collegium lost 200 kids because of transportation. So part of the problem is they're not getting picked up. They're an hour or more late for school. And this is Collegium. And then also coming home, they're not home sometimes until the teachers aren't leaving till 6 o'clock because they're not getting picked up. So they're combining bus rides, but it's not just a charter school thing.
Right.
Coatesville, the bus driver came here and picked up our kids and said her children go to Coatesville and are walking home for an hour and a half while she's driving our kids. So it's a problem.
It's a nationwide.
It's a nationwide problem. Downingtown is having problems. Avon called recently about a bus that was going to be late to school. It was a couple minutes. Coatesville, we've had a couple minute. We had one bus combined into two. Last week and this week, we've made a call out to the parents. If you can pick up, great. If not, they're going to be a little late. So it's not happened to the extent of what I'm hearing some of the districts. In the meantime, our safety person, Chrissy Simpkins, worked with the county. So there was a conversation today about when exactly do you go to the state level, National Guard, come in like Philadelphia is doing. So there is paperwork that you fill out, and it starts at the township level with Kraft or Duval, whoever the bus company is. Then it goes to the county. And then when the county can't supply it, that's when it goes to the next level. So there's a big meeting this week that's happening among the business managers and administrators for Kraft and the districts who host our transportation. And they said that they would get back to us on what solution path they're going on. But like I said, this is not a charter school problem. It's a county problem, and it's getting worse, not better.
So I had one other question about, so if in our new charter,
Mhm.
which we're putting out that we're going to go from 1890, whatever that number is, to 2200,
Right.
and we're doing the planning stage for a new building,
Mhm.
if that passes, is part of that going to be once the trailers are removed? I'm assuming that we're going to
Extend car line.
well, reconfigure
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see that.
And that's more parking. Like currently, right now, we can't even park all of our seniors here at the
Right.
school. So most school districts are saying seniors, you can at least park, but if you're a junior, you're in a lottery, right?
Right.
We can't even park all of our seniors here now.
Right.
So we are not only just have expanded for car line, but we don't have parking. So we have students parking at the Little League field now, not contracted with us.
Yeah.
That's something that they've done outside of the school and walking from Gavin Grove to here just to park so that they can drive.
Just on
So,
Rosedale Road.
actually, the Little League,
Go all the way.
Little League field.
Oh,
High
the high school. That one. Okay, that one, yeah.
So, I mean, we are busting
Like a tournament.
it seems when it comes to our capacity here at the school. This is, even though it's going to take time to plan this building, it's not a future problem. It's a now problem that we need to resolve. So this isn't me saying, won't it be nice to get kids from the lottery? This is, we need to solve what we have going on currently right now.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's any other questions on transportation or crossing guard? Okay. Vaccination requirements. So President Biden put an executive order out, ramping up our protocols to make sure that people are vaccinated. However, there's all kinds of requirements, laws, waiting for OSHA to kind of work those things out. So none of the districts are requiring staff currently right now to have a vaccination. However, we want to be prepared. So Tasha said, if you would like to tell us, not mandate it, ask if you would like to tell us that you're vaccinated, please turn in your card to HR. If not, that's okay. We don't need your vaccination card, but we presume that you're not vaccinated, which means when this order goes into effect, they will have to get a test weekly as part of the plan. Okay. So currently right now, our staff vaccinated is 87%. And our staff that needs weekly testing would be 13%. Our school nurse can handle that. Both school nurses can handle that. And we have enough tests here at school. So are there any concerns or questions about that before I make that at the board meeting? Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, my question was, do we have enough testing supplies to ensure that we can test students as well as staff since it's a regular reoccurring basis?
Yep.
And it sounds like that's already been vetted. So yeah, I think that was my only concern.
Okay. All right.
Can we go back?
Sure, please.
No.
The time.
So the current positives and the quarantine,
Mhm.
my initial feeling, and I want to ask you or whoever, do you feel this was leftover from the summer since we just started school?
No,
Or is this, and do you think it's inside or outside?
this number is the people when we started school inside the school. I do think there are links from people that are positive in the school. However, I can't say they contracted it in the school. It could have been in something outside of the school. But do I think there is a link transmission between a student to a student in the classroom? Yes. We're reporting all of those to the Chester County Health Department, and they're following those closely. The rules, there used to be a rule when it was about linked cases and schools shut down and all of that. That is no longer, but they are still keeping track. Now, I'm not saying if we see links everywhere and classrooms being shut down, that would be a very different story. I am hearing vaccination possibilities in October for 5 through 11. So that is on the table as far as discussions that are happening that are way bigger than us. But that's a possibility, and we might see a decline when and if that happens. But are these numbers, as you know, I don't want to see any students that are positive with COVID. But based on larger school districts, these are pretty good numbers.
No, yeah, they are.
And I think I would want to emphasize, just as a parent and a board member, that when there's questions, the staff here are supportive. You call, you give your scenario, and it's important that everyone does that because you can't make assumptions. Oh, I read it and this is what it means. Make sure that you call, you ask, and people are extremely timely and they get back to you immediately. They're working around the clock to handle. And they're doing a great job, and then the notifications are coming out.
Yeah, it was handled well.
I can't stress enough the whole, if you feel sick, stay home.
Yep.
I'm still hearing allergies. I'm still hearing, I just thought I had a cough, or it's just, if you have any of the symptoms, you should really stay home until we get a COVID test.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So just some numbers for now. We are high. So our current week 1 is 118. So in case, if you're not following, the Chester County's incident rate is 190. So our CDC's. So it's getting higher, and we aren't in the winter season yet. So just wanted to throw that out there. All right. So the health and safety plan. So currently right now, we had a plan we talked about in September. We need to ratify the health and safety plan tonight.
Yeah.
However, with that being said, we took out the reviewing of September because now we have Governor Wolf's mandate, right? We also have in there still this column A, column B symptoms. No one's really using that anymore. It's now one column. So if you see that slide where it says add, I'd like to add the verbiage. People with COVID have a wide range of symptoms reporting ranging from mild to severe illness. These symptoms may appear 12 to 14 days after exposure to the virus, listing these in one column. That means I'll add that and I'll delete the column A, column B.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then as far as symptom monitoring, step 1 and 2 are the same. Step 3 is, are you currently experiencing the following symptoms instead of the AB column? And then step 4 is anyone in your household. We added that awaiting COVID results because people are not telling us about positive people in their home.
Yep.
And so we added that piece too. So I made the corrections in the current health and safety plan, and I attached it to board docs so that you can see it. It's also in there for the public to see if they go in board docs. If you're comfortable with this, we're going to ask at the board meeting for you to ratify the health and safety plan, what it looks like now, so that we can approve that.
Yeah.
Any questions or concerns about that?
I just want to say I appreciate the changes being noted, the add and the delete.
Yeah,
That was
that was
helpful.
great.
Good. Anybody else? No. Brian, do you have anything? I know UD has stuff. I want to make sure.
No, it all looks good. So
Okay. All right. The next thing is the flu vaccine clinic. So we used to have flu clinics at every school, would have flu clinics. Currently, they're designating one school in the district to be the entire county's or district's place. So AGI is going to be our designated place for Avon Grove. And that will start September 30th, and they can sign up on these 2 links. So that's going to be sent home for parents to see, to sign up, and I'll make that announcement again at the board meeting. But I wanted the board to know that the flu clinics that were here prior are only at one location. They will be offering COVID-19 vaccinations, and the health department has advised that you can get the COVID-19 vaccine and the flu shot at the same time. So I'll make that announcement too. And that's it for vaccinations. Any questions?
I would encourage people to sign up early. The clinic that is for tomorrow evening has 800 people. It's not in this local area, but people are going
Which
to
one is that? Is that the one in
I don't know.
Unionville?
Unionville.
Unionville this week.
They announced it today at a meeting I was at. So they fill very quickly, and the health department is encouraging to go to those mobile sites. And then the health department additionally has the opportunity where you can schedule an appointment at the health department as well. But they're really looking to mobilize those mobile clinics and to get as many people who wish to be vaccinated to be vaccinated.
Okay, perfect. That's my whole COVID update. Is there anything that you need me to add for the public board meeting, or you're comfortable? Okay.
I think it's great.
All right. That finishes everything for us. The only thing I wanted to add is, I'm not sure, Dwayne, if this is something you want to talk about at the work session or later, but the nominations committee and what we're doing about the empty board seat.
So we briefly discussed it. So we do want to bring it up. And we can discuss how we want to do it. We don't think we're going to do a vote on it because I got the feeling, and I could be wrong, we were just going to kind of let it go until June.
Okay.
We're within our whole bylaws of more than 5 and less than 9.
Right. So you're going to function within the 8 and then
Yeah.
revisit. And
Yeah,
then
only because I think if we go through that, there's a whole process and then we've got to do it again in June. So it just makes sense to do it in one. I don't want to speak for anybody else.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to do. We talked to Stacy, so we're just going to let it.
Perfect.
It's all good.
Okay,
But thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so policies.
All right. Brian, would you like to speak to these?
Sure. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 policies up for first reading. Yeah, 6 policies up for first reading this month. They start to cover the program section of our policies. We went through the Board of Trustees. We did some student ones. We did finance, and now we're on to programs. So these are the first few programs. There's policy 1000, which is comprehensive planning and annual report requirements. 1002, which is academic standards. 1005, which is curriculum. 1005.1, which is the review of instructional materials by parents, guardians, and students. 1005.2, which is the exemption from instruction of students. And then 1007, which is the adoption of planned instruction policies. And we would be looking for, this is the first reading, so then we would look for approval at the October meeting. And then you'll see that agenda item B under policy are the 2 policies that would need to be rescinded that night as well.
So Brian, just for our refresher, and I know Julia's new on the board, can you just go through why we're doing this? This was the whole updating everything.
Sure. So we were going through policy revisions. We try to present 6 to 8 a month to the board that are up for renewal. Some of our policies are a little old, and we had met prior and talked about sort of prioritizing them. It was getting the board of trustees ones done, and then Donna had some important finance ones to do, and we got through all of those. And now it was time to go back and start to do our 1000 sort of book manual, which is programs. Things come up here and there, well, other ones will get sprinkled in, but we're trying to kind of go through each of the policy books to get those updated with the help of the board doc policy drafts that are crafted for charter schools.
And again, so we would just remind everyone to go through and read all those policies. I know Michelle is very good at finding grammatical things. I think that's awesome. But just to go through them so we know what we're voting on for next month's meeting. And then what we're also rescinding at next month's meeting. Is there anything else from yourself or Brian? Welcome back, Donna. Good to see you. Does anybody have any questions before anything?
We also have some minutes to approve.
That would be at the board meeting. Yep, at the board meeting. The only other thing that we will add, and we discussed it, and we can talk about it here, just so Kristen hears it. And we talked about it on our planning committee. We are going to move our retreat till 5:00 in October. And if we could have Susan send out an invite for that one, and we'll do the same time in February.
Okay, tell me again the dates for October.
12th.
October 12th at 5:00.
Yeah.
Okay. And here, right?
Yeah, and it's a closed retreat.
And then what was the other date?
I think it was February, the 2nd Tuesday in February.
Okay,
Forgive me, I don't know the date.
that's okay.
All right. Other than that, if there's any other comments or no other comments, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Wait, I'll make a motion to adjourn the board working session. Stacy Barno.
Great. Do I have a second?
Julia Byron, my second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Didn't think so. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you at 7:30. See you at 7:30. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to call to order the Avon Grove Charter School Board meeting for September 21st. We do have a quorum. As always, we are going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone would rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to close that. So we can go ahead and if everyone would, we did have an executive session this evening to discuss a HR matter. If everyone would cite the mission statement, please. To inspire passion for lifelong learning. And Sarah, roll call.
Wayne Degler,
Here.
Stacy Barno,
Here.
Michelle McCray,
Here.
Deji Akindole,
Here.
Julia Byram,
Here.
Brian Lavin,
Here.
Colleen Preston,
Here.
and Eugene Stecker.
Here.
Thank you. All right, I hope everyone got a chance to review the board working session minutes from last month. I need a motion to approve the board working session minutes from August 17th.
I'll motion Michelle McCray.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Stacy Barno.
Any comments or questions, discussion?
No.
All in approval? Aye. All opposed? So moved. Same thing for the public board meeting minutes from August 17th. Motion to approve.
I'll make the motion again, Michelle McCray.
Second.
Julie Byram, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Moving right along, student enrollment. Mr. Bruto?
So our student enrollment as of August 31st was 1,933. That's 42 students over our budget. Our summer attrition to that point in time was 143 students. And our new student enrollment as of August 31st was 297. As of August 1st, we had 704 applications for the 21-22 school year. That goes all the way back to to January. But it's a number that we look at when we're comparing total applications year to year. And as of August 31st, we still had 293 students with open applications on wait lists across grade levels.
Great, thank you very much. I know the board is excited. We do have a student representative report this year, starting this month. So Lily Cruiser, I'd like to introduce you and go right ahead. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. So as Mr. Degler said, I'm Lily Cruiser. I'm the student representative this year. I'm also the student council president. So to start with the new executive board, which is elected every spring, we have one returning officer, myself as president. We have Cece Figueroa as public relations, Elena Gassler as vice president, Elena McFadden as one of our new positions, which is commissioner of spirit, Kaya Hall as secretary, and Kate Engelman as our other new position, events coordinator. We also have a senior representative because our 5 board members are juniors. Our senior representative is Destiny McCready, and she's coordinating with Ms. Smith for prom committee and other senior events.
Is that the first time ever that we've all juniors?
Yes.
Interesting.
Wow.
We have no treasurer this year because of the way that money is handled. We just saw it as a position that was less valuable than something like spirit commissioner and events coordinator. You can go to the next slide. So for student council, Ms. Thayer is our advisor. She's been the advisor for many years since Ms. Sweeney. We are holding full council meetings. We're looking into the reevaluation and reshaping of the committee system introduced by last year's executive board, which is just a division of students dedicated to certain areas in each to get more engagement throughout the whole club, but also the whole school. We have president, myself, and Elena, vice president, reading the announcements each morning. That was also started by last year's board, Carter. The bonfire was held last Friday. We had really good attendance on that. There was games, music, some water and pretzels provided by student council. And our next event will be homecoming on October 8th, which is a Friday. And this year we are holding it at school because we have outgrown the red playroom, and also because we have a beautiful space, both in the collaboratory and now in the outdoor classroom to hold it in. You can go to the next slide. National Honor Society is next. Mrs. Serino is the advisor, and their induction is being held on October 6th. Because the induction is yet to happen, they haven't made too many plans, but they do have a plan for something of a pumpkin carving contest in the works. You can go to the next slide. DECA, which has Mr. Ryer as the advisor, is a club brought to the school in the last couple of years. It's designed to educate students on 21st century skills and business-centered competitions. So they will work on projects, and many of them will take a test and do role play to kind of practice and learn how to be in the business world as students, and they'll go to competitions with tons of other kids in the state and the country. They recently held their interest meeting, and they're moving full speed ahead in their endeavors. I believe they are attending some sort of practice competition in October. Yearbook, Mrs. Fees is the advisor this year. Class began obviously at the first day of school, and they already have begun working on the yearbook. There is a wide range of grade levels this year, as usual, but we have a full class, and we actually had more people than computers, so initially. There will be a club starting up in late September, which did not happen last year just because of how difficult it was over completely online, and since we weren't having clubs in person. Go to the next slide. Tri-Am Honor Society, Mr. June is the advisor again. They're currently seeking their new members, have not reviewed any applications, I believe. They plan to do coffee houses, name that tune, and other events as usual this year. Academic competition is, as usual, held by Miss Daniel and Mr. Mostello. They're the coaches, and there are some new members and many returning. This is also one of our more full clubs at the moment. They attended a practice meet yesterday at I forget what school it was, but it modeled basically a regular meet where they all come in with their various knowledges and practice for academic skills ranging all the way from science to arts. And all the CCIU competitions this year will be held in person as opposed to last year over Zoom. They do have various accommodations for social distancing guidelines. Clubs, Movie Club is hosting an interest meeting. Business Club is in the works again this year, with Miss Fees likely as the advisor. And many other clubs will opt for a later start, like Yearbook, to allow students to settle in a little bit first and find out what they want to do and what they can handle. Finally, sports, we have the athletic directors, Mr. McGeehan, head coaches, Ms. Sweeney and Mr. Ryer. Soccer, volleyball, and cross country are running as usual this year. Each team has won multiple games. Soccer has a record of 2-1 at the moment, and volleyball 2-2. And cross country, many of the runners have made a new personal record already this year. Many teams have introduced new captains, as obviously seniors have graduated last year. And then they're currently looking for student volunteers for line judges, line runners, and guiding runners throughout the races. That's all I have for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you every month. And you don't feel like you have to stay for the meeting, but it's up to you. We appreciate you being here. All right, moving along. We have no public, so I'm assuming there's no comment. All right, no comment. The comment is now in person. All right, just moving along. I'm just going to take a quick second in my little section to thank the students for coming back, and the teachers for the effort they did to get the school back in operation. And also a big thank you. I know the board is very much appreciative to the administrative team for the dashboard that's been put together so that we can help track what's going on. So big round of applause for them. Thank you so much. Great effort. Thank you again. So, all right, moving right along. Finance Planning Committee, AG. I agree. Do you want to defer to your Yes, for the consent agenda. All right, perfect. Facilities planning, Brian?
Sure, thanks. Good evening, everybody. So the minutes have been distributed from the meeting from September 13th. Thanks, Sarah, for putting those together. Big things here just to hit. Ventilation systems are working well. We're finishing up the final punch list from the summer construction projects, looking towards the projects that are lined up for next summer. All of those details are in the minutes, like I stated before. And finally, there are a number of new contracts that we'll talk about on the finance portion that need approval for additional cleaning as we move forward on both of the campuses.
Thank you. Human resources, Stacy?
The Human Resources Quest meeting, we hosted our first meeting of the school year on September 13th. So Quest stands for Quality Employee Strategic Team. So we have two representatives from Quest, along with myself and Colleen Preston, that meet with Tasha, who is in charge of human resources for the school. So we just talked about Quest, the new members for this coming school year. We talked about the purpose of Quest. It's been a committee that had been started many years ago. So some of the discussions were about what the purpose was and who the reason for it. It really is a place to offer and foster open communication and collaboration. And then the team just looked at some goals for moving forward into the school year, as well as talking about just some preliminary information that had been released following President Biden and looking at vaccinations and looking at OSHA, making some of those decisions that entities, including schools, will potentially be following. And that group meets on a monthly basis.
Great, thank you. Finally, strategic planning. Thank you to Brian. Our strategic planning meeting kind of reviewed the whole format, structure, and direction that the strategic planning committee is going in. I know there's more information going out. Brian, is that correct? You're sending out information? There was an email. Went out. So parents can look for that. So Julia, do you want to add anything? It was kind of a recap and summary meeting to kind of get us all focused.
Yeah, no, not at this time.
Great. Thank you. Head of school presentation, points of pride.
All right. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is the health and safety review, with hopes at the end that we would have an approved revised health and safety plan. So just some recap, the last board meeting, the board voted for us to wear masks for the month of September and reevaluate. However, Governor Wolf's administration is now requiring masks in all schools to keep kids safe. And so the order took effect September 7th, 2021. If and when that requirement is no longer, we will request the board to have an emergency meeting to discuss what Avangard Charter School wants to do moving forward. The TSA is still mandating masks on school buses, and our current cases, our positive cases cumulative, are 11 students and 1 contractor. There were 8 at State Road and 3 at Campbellsville. There is a dashboard on our website that is updated weekly that will continue to document positive cases. The COVID testing is still available here at the school. We will ask parent permission. We do not test students without parent permission. So currently we have 46 students and staff that had to quarantine based on close contact. That would be higher if we did not have a mask on and we were following the Chester County Health Department guidance. So that 46 number is contained because of us wearing masks. There is a transportation shortage, a bus driver shortage. With that being said, we do have some things in the works with the districts. They are working with their transportation coordinators and with their business managers. They are looking for some solutions, but on top of that, it is getting to be a county issue, and they're looking to see how the county can support us, and if not, then the state. So we are very lucky in that it hasn't affected us as it has other districts. But we do have some buses within the last 2 weeks that were late getting here or doubling up on buses so that kids were late getting home. or even to school. The time they're getting to school, if they are late, is about 10 to 15 minutes, which is again, much better than what some other schools are seeing where they have seen something more than an hour. So we will take the good for the crisis that we're currently in. We do understand that state road car line is an issue, that it is COVID related in the fact that we have more cars driving. We're not trying to discourage you from driving because we understand there's a bus shortage. And so some of the routes are longer, but we are problem solving with the township. It is a township road. So it's important for the community to understand that we are not allowed really to be in the road directing traffic. So the local police is working with the township and the state police to come up with some solutions on that. I am going to ask that if the board is comfortable and we get a contract, currently right now, they are asking for $100 for morning and afternoon. So if the board would like to make a motion preliminary, giving me that status to continue to make that, I could even do it in a monthly and then revisit if it's more than $100, it's in my discretionary spending. But long-term, if you want to make a motion to approve that, we can do that.
Do we have a motion to approve for the $100 limit?
Also move.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second Brian Ladman.
Is there any discussions or questions? I know we did ask at the working session that this is a morning and afternoon. It's still $100 for the full day, but the crossing guard will be in the morning and the afternoon.
Right.
So,
And just to be clear, I don't have a contract currently with that rate. They're still meeting and negotiating, so that is subject to change. And if that's the case, I'd bring it back to the board.
so up to $100. So any other questions?
And that's only state road, correct?
It's only state road.
Yep. All right. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Okay. As far as the vaccination requirements, so as the HR committee has discussed, there was a executive order signed by President Biden to require vaccinations. OSHA is working out some of the details. So we are planning on what that looks like. Currently, right now, we are not asking our staff whether they're vaccinated or not. We're asking them to provide their cards. If they choose not to provide their cards, that's okay, but they would be considered not a non-vaccinated staff member, which will require testing weekly. So currently, right now, we have 87% of our staff that's vaccinated and 13% that would need that weekly testing. We do have enough testing on site to be able to do that, and we are ready to go once OSHA makes those requirements. Okay. As far as where we are right now, we are in the high range. The CDC 7-day rolling is 190. We are at 118 per 100,000. So that is, it's climbing. And we are at 6.42% for positivity rate. Give them a second to look at that.
And that's the count, correct?
Yep.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. So our health and safety plan, we would like to make a couple updates. Currently, right now in our health and safety plan, we have 2 columns with symptoms, column A and column B. No one's really using those columns anymore. They've made one symptom list. So we'd like to change the current health and safety plan to add people with COVID-19 have had a wide range of symptoms reported ranging from mild symptoms to severe illness. These symptoms may appear 2 to 14 days after exposure to the virus, and then the list of symptoms. So that would delete the A-B column symptom list and then add the variety of symptoms that people are using. So what our symptom monitoring would be was step 1, take your temperature. Step 2, are you using any medications to suppress those symptoms or the fever? Step 3, are you currently experiencing any of the symptoms from the list that we would like to update? And then step 4, is anyone in your household awaiting a result of a COVID test? It is important for the school to know if there's positive cases in a household. So we would please call the school if your household is experiencing COVID. Anything over 100.4 is considered a fever, elevated temperature. So again, if you have anything that even exhibits sinuses or any of the symptoms that you see on that list, to please contact the nurse. Any questions?
So instead of counting symptoms for the parents, just if they have any on this one list, then call the nurse.
Correct. Yep. So at this point, I'm asking for a motion to ratify our current health and safety plan to be approved.
The motion to ratify the,
Julia Byram, motion.
okay, Julia, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Michelle McCarron.
I got 2 seconds, Michelle. Thank you very much. Any discussion, any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? So moved.
And then the only other thing I wanted to mention to at least the parents that might be listening to this meeting, that we are not having a flu clinic here at the school, but there will be one designated per district building. And so AGI is our district building that will host flu shots and vaccination clinics. They'll start on September 30th. You'll have to book an appointment. We will have this on our website and in an information letter. So you can receive both a COVID vaccination and a flu vaccination in the same day at that appointment if wanted. And appointments are necessary and they are filling up fast. So if you are interested, that's something that you might want to jump on when you get the information.
Beautiful.
So moving on to our next point of pride. Let me get back to that slide. All right. So Tropical Storm Ida, on top of COVID, right on the first week of school, we had a devastating storm that really did affect a lot of our Oxford and Coatesville families. Mrs. Johnson is a principal at the Early Learning Center, and her whole street had some major damage, houses without roofs. I mean, it was unbelievable. And as far as Coatesville, there are families that lost everything in the storm. So we did, rally together, and like Avon Grove Charter School usually does, the PTO hosted a gift card rally, and within 3 days, we had $2,350 worth of gift cards. So they bought Dunkin' Donuts and Wawa for all the emergency personnel, and they bought a lot of supermarket gift cards for all the families that were in need or displaced. So I went to Coatesville the one day where the Red Cross was there, and I personally saw what people were dealing with as far as what they lost in their basements. And it is truly a crisis. So they still need. So if you would like to continue, we just posted something on Facebook today where you can go and continue to help and support the families that are still very much in need. But thank you to everybody who donated to that cause, because it was unbelievable to have that in the first week of school. Our active PTO, I can't say enough great things about our current PTO right now. They are doing a ton of initiatives, and even when COVID happened and not a lot of people were fundraising, and they did the kindness drive with Mrs. Taylor, I mean, they made the most money we've ever made in any kind of fundraiser. So we're just really lucky to have them, and they've been doing a lot of great things here at the school. So I wanted to give them a shout out. Great first week of school. Kids are here. Kids are learning. Kids are not destroying bathrooms from TikTok.
Oh,
So I am happy that we've started the school year off on the right foot and using our positive decision-making and really wanting to be here and learning and respecting the space that we are creating here for them as a school. So that is very much a positive thing. We might have had 2 soap dispensers disappear, but
done a lot on those bathrooms.
I will take the soap dispensers and hope that it never happens again after that letter. There's been much more serious things that have happened in other schools. Matt Arders is our new communications position for the school. And if you haven't seen the videos that he's made so far, he had a first day of school video, which was very much like Sunday morning on CBS, of the sights and sounds of the first day of school, really creative and unique. There was a 9/11 tribute that Mrs. Johnson did, a Success and Spirit video, and just high school senior events that have happened, like the bonfire that is being captured. So really doing a good job staying on top of that and marketing the school. The athletics programs are off to a great start. We got that covered. And just a thank you to the facilities team. It's a lot of bathroom monitoring, cleaning, and other things that are happening here at the school. And so we wouldn't have been able to do that without them. And they're really working hard. I am going to be at the Avon Grove School District meeting on September 23rd at 6:30. That's our annual meeting. So every September I go and present on annual information from the previous year. I take this opportunity to explain to you some of the slides that I'll be presenting on Thursday. This is higher level stuff. Not every slide is showcased, but the ones that have a lot of the data and information that you might want to see. So currently, right now, our demographic data, we have 51% female and 48% male. And that's random in the lottery. We can't pick and choose girls and boys. Our demographic data, 71% white. And then 3% Asian, multiracial, 4%, Hispanic, 16%, Black and African, 6%, Native Hawaii, Pacific Islander, 0.1%. Okay, as far as the districts that we're pulling, as of October 1st of 2020, we had 1845. So this has changed from now, not too much, but it's changed a little. We have 35.12% from Avon Grove, 27 from Coatesville. Oxford has 23%. And then our other piece of the circle is a bunch of different districts, but Octorara and Kennett make up some of that, along with the other districts that you see listed below. Okay. Our next slide will show you regular ed to special ed. So 16% is the average of special ed students per building. So we are right under the average of students that are special ed. The next slide has our attendance rate, 96%. Economically disadvantaged and free and reduced. This has gone up within the last couple of years. So we're at 30%, and then ELL 1%. Currently, right now, our Avon Grove School District population is 655. As of September 7th, 2021, we are at 648. You see our population was 1846, and now we're at 1916. Actually, we're at 1925. Our current enrollment is 1925. So there were 717 applications total, over 15 different school districts, 240 students on the enrollment waiting list currently right now, and 25% of those new applicants are from Avon Grove School District. A lot of people don't understand that. Why do we have Avon Grove students if they're our first priority? And it's because of when they fill out the application and what grade levels we have openings. Special ed, a lot of questions around special ed, that charter schools diagnose students special education for money. That cannot happen. Licensed school psychologists are who evaluate students that qualify for special ed. So it's not something that you can just get. But along with that, I think a lot of people don't understand that some of the kids that come to us in the lottery come with an IEP. And we are a state school, so we will have to follow all of the state mandates, which means we would have to implement the current IEP that the student already has. So currently 17% of Avon Grove students have IEPs that are here. 176 Avon Grove students currently in the lottery, and 19% of them indicate that they have an IEP. Now there's a little asterisk there because we ask the question. It doesn't mean anything because their number doesn't get picked unless it gets picked. But when it gets picked, if they do say they have an IEP, we know. Not everybody fills that part out. So there could be more than 19%, but that's what's in the system right now. Okay. The next part is things that you've heard in the past, especially with the comprehensive planning committee, strategic planning and the comprehensive planning conversations. But there are 4 strategic planning pillars, one being around teaching and learning, the other one being around supporting all learners, building community, and then modernizing our facilities and systems. So the first one we're going to talk about is our goals for rigorous teaching and learning. We're still looking at curriculum management and planning and framework. We're looking at equitable grading and assessments. We're looking at aligning our high school electives and industry-based credentialing. We're looking at our instructional coach framework, our master schedule for the State Road campus. And then we have all of our ESSER fundings with our additional interventionists and summer programs that we put in place this year. The next goal we're working on is support for all learners. So all of our social emotional learning goals, which is again, to know the competencies in our social emotional learning, our positive behavior interventionist support, focusing on giving positive feedback, making sure we're doing tier 1 with fidelity, and focusing on improving our violation system. And our equity goal is to make sure that each student has a staff member that can collaborate and work with them, and have a person to go to, and then just to ensure systems are in place to connect with all AGCS families. Building a community. So we have our new media and communications coordinator that we're excited about. We are contracting with Chrissy Simpkins in the Admin Grove School District for safety, and that couldn't have been a better partnership. That has been leaps and bounds from where we were. So I'm really happy to have her on the team. We're deploying a new mobile app, or at least trying to. We're evaluating and repackaging our parent-family engagement activities. We're looking at expanding our network and our alumni network and requiring recruitment, hiring, and retainment of high-quality staff. And then last but not least, we are looking to modernize our building. We've made leaps and bounds in progress here, as you can see in those pictures. But we are looking at our 3, 5, 10-year plan, our IT infrastructure upgrades, and then we're also looking at our high school modular replacement into that new building. And Sage Intact is a financial accounting program that we also are implementing in the business office. So those are the goals that I'll be talking to the district about. And that takes care of the Admin Grove School District meeting. I think I was done. I'm trying to see. Let me make sure I covered everything. We talked about the transportation. So that was already discussed. And then the health and safety plan. So I covered everything.
Great.
Any questions?
No, but I'll make a comment that Matt should come to a meeting because he did a great job with the videos.
He did.
So he gets to meet everyone.
Well, you know, it's so funny. He asked me if he should be here. And I said to him, you've been working some nights, you know, there's no reason, but I am mentioning your name. The only reason I would need you here is so that they can say, really good job. So I'll make sure they know that you said really
He
good
says he
job.
watches, so Matt.
There you go, Matt, really good job.
Good job.
And the presentation and the slides are just, it's very great.
Good.
Very good.
Good.
Thank you. All right, so moving along, business and finance.
Back to me, huh?
Yeah, Daisy, it's all you.
All right. So the treasurer's report for today, the AGCS financial statements approval. There are no financial statements to present. The 2021 August fund activity and vendor billing report and the 2021 July and August check register. The committee reviewed the 2021 August funds activity and vendor billing report and the 2021 July and August check register. Administration is requesting the board approve the reports subject to auditor review as presented under the consent agenda. Number 3, the cash position as of September 17th, 2021. The school's cash position is very good. The business office will continue to monitor cash balances as well as implement cash management strategies if required as we move through the fiscal year. 4, the AGCS 2020-2021 fiscal year audit. This year's AGCS engaged Barbara Kane Thornton and Company LLP to perform the 2020-2021 fiscal year audit. The audit fieldwork is in progress. No findings were reported to date. All solicitor, banking, and school district verification letters have been issued as required, and there are no pending items, requests for additional information outstanding at this time. A draft document will be provided to administration and the board treasurer for review in early November. The audit will be completed by mid-November with the formal presentation planned for the board at that month's public board meeting. Number 5, annual contract service renewal agreements. The committee reviewed and discussed the following annual contract services: George Kraft Jr. and Sons, Inc., KELC Kirksville Student transportation annual contract in the amount of $277,200. The CCIU Marketplace Program Pricing Agreement, pricing as presented on the agreements attachments. And then the CCIU Manager of Safety and Security Agreements, Safe Schools Grant of $59,208. And renewal contracts are in line with the 2021-2022 budget expenditures. Based on the review of these annual contract renewals, administration is recommending the contract renewals be forwarded to the board for their review and consideration to be approved at the September 21st, 2021 public board meeting. So I need a motion to approve the George Kraft Jr. and Sons and the CCIU Marketplace Program Pricing Agreement and the CCIU Manager and Safety and Security Agreement as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Approved.
All in favor?
All in favor, so yes, thank you.
Aye.
All opposed?
So
Motion carries. All right, number 6, System 4 Facilities Custodial Service Agreement Addendum. The Finance Committee reviewed and discussed the updated custodial service needs and the revisions to our existing custodial agreements at both campuses. The revised custodial service agreement cost analysis was updated to capture custodial staffing changes required to adequately meet cleaning protocols for our students and the staff for the new academic year. Total budget impact for the additional services represent an increase of $49,000 to the facilities budget. The contracts for the board's consideration and approval are listed below. The KELC Custodial Service Addendum P, PM Custodial Service Addendum. Total 2021-2022 budget cost, $152,600. The addendum is for $163,700, an increase of $11,100. 2, the State Custodial Service Addendum Q, PM Custodial Service Addendum. Total 2021-2022 budget cost, $295,400. The addendum is $240,000, so a decreased cost of $55,400. And then last but not least, the State Road Porter Service Addendum R, Day Porter Service Addendum. Total 2021-2022 budget, 0. The addendum is $93,000, an increase of $93,000. So based on the review of these addendums, administration is requesting the agreement addendums be forwarded to the board for their review and consideration to approve at the September 21st, 2021 public board meeting. So I need a motion to authorize and grant the business administrator the ability to execute service agreements, addendum P, Q, and R as presented and as required to ensure continuous custodial services. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Or a second?
Brian Ladman, I'll second.
Daisy, I'm just going to ask. So, Donna, do there's the little line that says the expenditures are reimbursable. Is that going to cover a lot of that overfall or?
At 49,000, yes.
Okay, perfect. Good. Thank you. I apologize. Thank you. No,
So it's subject to ESSERS 2 and or ESSERS 3 ARPs.
great. Excellent.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No one. Motion carries. Number 7, and I'm almost done, I promise. The AGCS Business Office Sage Intact Accounting Database System Transaction Update. The business office completed the implementation and legacy migration of the Sage Intact Financial Accounting Platform. As previously reported, the implementation of this system has been challenging with required work around at every next step. The AGCS team went live on August 9th, 2021. The data entry transaction is going better than expected. There have been a few functionality issues that the team is currently working on with Intact support. You're finding the workarounds or solutions as needed to keep things moving. Some days are better than others. We believe the data in part will continue to move forward at a faster rate, and our team should be at a full efficiency in the 3-month mark. This was the expected timeline based on our conversations with other schools. that transition to intact. The data output of this project is moving at a much slower pace. The main reason for this is that the intact standardized reports will not work for the AGCS PDE reporting formulas. Essentially just means that they don't follow GAP formula, and we need to follow GAP formula to be able to report it to the PDE. Also, these reports do not need to be bound, where am I reading? Sorry.
Do not meet the
Bond fiscal reporting requirements either, sorry.
No.
AGCS is working with a consultant to custom design the reports in the required format as needed to meet the future reporting tasks. AGCS will continue to work with the independent consultant to learn the report designs, creation process, as well as the required report writer training needed to create the 100+ reports used throughout our fiscal year. Currently, the business office is employing the dual system data entry method for QuickBooks and Intact. This is the best practice recommended when the transitioning large and comprehensive financial data files. This approach would ensure our financial data is accurate and consistent during the first few months of transition, while our team is learning the ins and outs of Intact. Utilizing QuickBooks will also ensure our quarterly reports are submitted timely. Our plan is to be fully operational by the end of October. The business office will continue to provide updates to the finance committee and the board as we move this project to a close. I think all of that being said, there's a lot of work that team is doing. So from my perspective, I just want to say, like, awesome job with you guys, like continuing to work with through all the issues that you have with Intact and getting that in place. So I want to just throw that in there really quick. Number 8, miscellaneous business office items. Bond annual dissemination. Annual report due November 30, 2021. Updated board member biographies required. B, next meeting will be Friday, October 8th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. Location will be at the administrative conference room. Physical or virtual meeting. Could be either. And then last but not least, number 9, September 21st, 2021 business and finance consent agenda. So I need a motion to approve the September 21st, 2021 business and finance consent agenda as presented.
All motion.
Motion. Thank you. Have a second?
I'll second Stacy Barno.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We're okay. Tasha, come on up, Tasha.
The personnel consent agenda is as follows. We do not have any resignations, nor retirement or releases. One leave, Donna Archer returned from FMLA on September 16th. We did not have any professional staff to our payroll. However, we did have additions of support staff, which are as follows. Kelly Green was hired as the ELC instructional aide effective August 25th. Adrian Chapman, ELC instructional aide effective August 30th. Michelle Hamilton, special education aide effective August 30th. Molly Johnson, van driver effective September 7th. Emily Eggers, aftercare aide effective September 8th. Tasha, can you come up here? They can't hear you. The sound's not picking up. Oh, okay. Here, right here. All right.
So could you go through that again?
Okay. The whole thing, you want me to start from the beginning?
Yep.
Okay. So personnel consent agenda is as follows. We did not have any resignations. I was organized the first time. No retirements, no releases. We had one leave. Donna Archer returned from FMLA on September 16th. We did not have any professional staff added to our payroll. However, we did have support staff, which are as follows. Kelly Green, ELC instructional aide, effective August 25th. Adrian Chapman, ELC instructional aide, effective August 30th. Michelle Hamilton, special education aide, effective August 30th. Molly Johnson, van driver, effective September 7th. Emily Eggers, aftercare aide, effective September 8th. Riley McFoy,
aftercare aide, effective September 15th, and Kirsten Hunter, cafe aide at State Road, effective September 20th. We did not have any contracted vendors or seasonal staff. That concludes the personnel consent agenda. So administration is recommending their approval of the staffing changes provided within the personnel consent agenda, specifically items listed from 8A through 8I.
So do I have a motion to approve the staffing changes within the personnel consent agenda, specifically items listed from 8A to 8I?
I'll motion Stacy Barno.
Do I have a second?
A second, Kelly Preston.
Great. Any discussion?
I just wanted to commend administration for all the hard work in filling those positions. So much of those positions that Tasha just reviewed are dependent upon how many children we have enrolled in the after-school program. So it's great to see, and I know there was a lot of feedback that some of those personnel are alumni from our school. So it's great to see, and also team members that were able to return back to the workforce that maybe took a leave of absence last year. So it's great to see the work that the team is doing together to make sure we're filling those vacancies and adding to our programs. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for reading it twice.
You're
All
welcome.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Policies. Brian?
No, I can.
Oh, you're doing it, Donna? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Revise that, so I.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, but following up on our working session, there were 6 policies that were reviewed and updated that were presented to the board for the 30-day first read. Now, those are the comprehensive planning and annual report, the academic standards, the curriculum, review of instructional materials by parents, guardians, and students, exemption from instruction, and the adoption of the planned instruction. And then upon approval of these policies, there are 2 former older AGCS policies that will be recommended to be rescinded, and that is curriculum development, as well as evaluation of the educational program.
Thank you. So again, I ask the board to read those for next month. So moving on, any final comments from Kristen or Brian? No, great. Any other committee or public comments? No one's here. If there's nothing else, again, thank you to the staff and the faculty and the administration coming back. It's great to see everybody. And in the future, just to make an announcement, our board meetings will stay the same day, which is the 3rd Tuesday of the month. However, we will be moving them up a half hour to 7 p.m. so they will be advertised. So with having said that, is anybody want to make a motion to adjourn? Eugene?
Before making motion to adjourn, I would like to thank our IT guys. I think they're doing a tremendous.
Yeah. Did we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Deji, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks, Ryan.